Okay, today we're going to be playing a game on Numbani. We're going to be playing Sombra the entire way through, and this is a competitive game, but it took place during placement, so, you know, SR's all over the place, blah 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 blah. And our current team composition is Winston, Genji, Doomfist, McCree, Sombra, and Ana. So, we've got 4 DPS, 1 support, 1 tank. Sombra's like closer to a support than a DPS, so we've got like 2 supports. Whatever, it's a placement game. It doesn't really matter that much because they're only slightly better than quick play games usually. So, before we start, so Sombra is a very difficult hero to play correctly, and most people try to play her the wrong way, where they basically just like, she's just like Tracer, which is not the case. So, there's 5 things you're trying to do to Sombra, as Sombra, not to Sombra, and I'm gonna lay them all out right now, because then it's easier to refer to them as we go through, right? Because Sombra is a hard hero to play. So your number 1 priority when you're playing Sombra is building your ultimate, because the Emp is the strongest ultimate in the entire game, and if you Emp, like, a lot of times during a game, your team's gonna win. There's like no way they can't. Doesn't require as much communication as people assume it does, because you just wait for your team to be nearby, ready to fight, and then you emp the entire enemy team, and then fight starts. It doesn't require as much communication as people purport it to. So building ult is your number 1 charge. You do this by getting behind the enemy team and just harassing them and heckling them. You're not necessarily going to kill anybody. You're just sort of trying to build ult charge off damaging people and trying to pick somebody off like a support if you can. But you're really just trying to build your ult. You also build your ult by hacking health kits and your team using them and you using them. So make sure to hack as many health kits as possible as well. So the other thing that you're trying to do as Sombra is you're trying to reposition constantly. Because one of the biggest things about Sombra is that she can attack you from a lot of unpredictable locations. She can get in a lot of weird places, and she can come at you from a lot of places, and she can reposition very quickly between these places. What a lot of people do is they pick one place, like we're on Numbani right now, so let's give an example. A lot of people will hack, say, if the drawing tool would work, which of course it won't. What a lot of people will do is they'll pick one area, and they'll decide, this is my area, and they'll just work from there. So they'll hack like the health kit in the building down here. And then they'll put their translocator on it, and then they'll just go out, try and get they'll put it there, they'll stealth up to somebody, try and shoot them, translocate back, then they'll rehack that health kit, go out, do it over and over and over again. Don't do that. Like, we can attack from so many locations, and we can reposition so quickly. A big part of Sombra is how unpredictable you are in where you're going to attack. So don't just attack from there, like, alright, I'm going to start down here. Now I've done that like once or twice, enemy team knows I'm going to do that. So now what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to hack the small health kit behind their team at the top of the staircase, and I'm going to attack from up there, going like across the balcony a couple of times. Then they're like, alright, now they're getting used to that, so I'm going to reposition. Now I'm going to go into the clothing store behind the point and hack that kit, and I'm going to come up the back staircase a few times. You want to reposition as much as possible, because that way you're more unpredictable, the enemy team has to look for you more actively, and it's just generally harder to deal with you. Then the other 2 things you're trying to do, sort of the same thing, but not necessarily, is you're trying to distract people, and you're trying to contest objectives. Because Sombra's really good at that. The contesting is more if you're defending. But, so, you're just distracting people. You want to reposition, just get in a lot of unpredictable locations, come up behind them, distract them, fuck with their backline. They have to come back and try to deal with you, or they have to at least acknowledge you briefly, or you're gonna kill their Mercy or their Ana or whatever. So you just keep doing that, and don't die. This is a very important thing while you're doing this. Don't die. But you're trying to distract people. And then if you're defending, you're also trying to contest the objective as much as possible. 'Cause suppose you're on a payload map, like Numbani. You can stall out the payload for a surprisingly large amount of time over the entire course of the game, because you have stealth. So you can do something like hack the large health kit in the ditch in the first point of Numbani, put your translocator on it, stealth up to the payload, hang around it for a little while, try and shoot some people, try and get some damage in, just like hang out on it stealth, contesting it, and then as soon as they come back to get you, you translocate away, and then you just come back and do it again, because stealth has a really low cooldown. And if you just keep doing that kind of thing over the entire course of the game, you buy your team a lot of time. And you're like building your ult charge this entire time, building up to it. And then your last objective is you want to fight. You've got your ultimate, your team's there, and then you're going to go in with your EMP, and you're going to win the game because you just empty the entire enemy team. So, those are sort of the things you're trying to do as Sombra. Like, you're like mini objectives that every hero has. So, you know, that's the idea. The really important thing is building ultimate and repositioning, because Sombra's ult is really fucking overpowered, and she's a very unpredictable hero because of her unique movement abilities. So you want to be repositioning as much as possible so that you're harder to find, you're more distracting, you get to pick people off more, that kind of thing. So, now that that incredibly long preamble's done, let's start the game. So, we see this Genji up here, and we decide that we're going to go up here and we're going to try and get this Genji. We haven't put a translocator anywhere before we come up and do this, so this is a very dangerous maneuver, and we in fact get punished for it, because the enemy team is always standing up on that balcony. That's what they do, and we're coming up here chasing after the Genji. Alright, maybe we can pick him off if he's overextended, but we gotta put a translocator down before we go up there, because we kind of expect to see the entire enemy team up there, because that's where they are generally standing. So Numbani is a really good map to play Sombra on because of how many options you have. So, right now, we don't really know very much about the enemy team yet, or what they're up to. We have only seen a couple of them. So, the easiest thing to do is going to be, like, pick the health kit on the left, or the one under here, hack that, put your translocator there in case you need it. Then, like, stealth up behind the enemy team, see what they're doing, like, look what their team comp is, look where everyone's standing, and then try and figure out who your priorities are. If there's like a soldier hanging out on the back up there or something and there's a Mercy with him, you're trying to fuck with them as much as possible and distract them, try and pick them off if at all possible, and just building up your ult, getting ready for the fight. Then, we've sort of used this as our initial ground, and then we can go back and try that one a couple times if we want, but then we want to reposition to like behind the point, then we come up again up the staircase and fuck with them. You know, so we want to get information on the enemy team first, because, I mean, we're playing Sombra, it's pretty easy to do that. So here comes a Tracer. Tracer is a very sad hero to get hacked, however, she is also good at stopping you from hacking her, so if the Tracer is shooting at you, you don't really want to try and hack her, you're better off just trying to shoot her, because she'll just interrupt you. So here's Genji. We've hacked this large health kit, though, so we effectively have infinite HP. And here comes Winston to help us finishing him off. So we leave our translocator right there. We are coming out into the open, just like unstealth right now. So as soon as we're stealthed, oh fuck, someone was looking at us. You don't want to stealth out in front of people, because then it's easy to get taken out of stealth. And now that just kind of fucks with our groove a little bit. We even were scared enough to use translocator. So now again, we're attacking from the same location that they just saw us in, so they if they're paying attention, they'll be expecting this one. So now we have our ultimate, so we're ready to fight. Our team, not quite ready to fight yet, but they're almost there. So we hack Reinhardt. Reinhardt is no longer a hero. Unfortunately, we have put our translocator over here, so we can't actually use it to quickly reposition for our ultimate. If you're close to having your EMP, as we are like so right now, it's worth not putting your translocator down for safety, because you will probably need it to quickly reposition to actually get as many people as possible with your EMP, since the point is to kind of hit, like, the entire enemy team. So we can't do that because we end up putting it down over there. So we hack Reinhardt. Reinhardt has to fall back because otherwise he's gonna fucking die. And if we had our EMP right now, we could then just, our translocator rather, because we have our EMP, we can just like chuck it over into the enemy team as soon as we see them gathering up. Like right so. And then go in there and hack them, and then emp them all, and they'll be really sad about it. Instead, we have used our translocator to back out of the fight as soon as we've built up our as soon as we have our emp, and also our team is like trying to fight right now. Like they're coming in through the balcony, and we are leaving the fight right now. This is a terrible time to leave the fight because we want to be in there emping them right now, because this is where our team is trying to go in. So, better course of action would have been, save your translocator, because you know you have your emp and you're probably going to be starting a fight soon since our team is gathering up here. We come up here, we hack Reinhardt to help like get our team in a little bit, and then we use our Translocator to reposition to emp as many people as possible during the fight. Then we emp and immediately translocate back out of the fight again, which is, I mean, that's like the best time to be in the fight right after emping people. I mean, we might not have actually hit that many people because we were in a pretty not great position for it, but you don't want to emp immediately leave the fight. So right now our team is dead. So we don't want to be doing any of what we're doing right now because we're going to get killed. We've got, our team's not ready to fight. We just used our emp, so our number one priority right now, reposition, start building our ultimate again so that we can start fucking with it, so that we can get ready to fight as quickly as possible. So now, they know we're up here. Just, like, chuck your translocator over there, get behind the enemy team, and then, like, hack the health kit back there. You can start working from back there, hacking people, distracting them, blah, blah, blah. Instead, we're like, just show ourselves for no reason, and now we're just gonna get collapsed on. This dude's shooting at us, so there's no way we're ever gonna hack him. We want to get out at that point, so that we can reposition, start building ult, start distracting. Instead, we just throw our lives away for no reason. And that's terrible, because that just means that's like 25 seconds we've spent not building our ult, which is just wasted time. And we're trying to build our ult as quickly as possible, because it is ridiculously strong. So we've hacked this Tracer while she was stunned, and now she is really, really upset about that one. So, still don't have Emp, so number one priority right now, build Emp. We find Genji over here camping this health kit, and he's probably a little upset about that one if I had to guess. We're waiting to hack the health kit before we pick it up, which is a very greedy maneuver. And so, now we're gonna go in with our translocator down behind us, but we keep going through this way, so they're probably starting to expect this at this point, since this is our third time coming through here. Zenyatta's kind of wasting his his Transcendence right now, the other thing that starts with a T. So, now, our team have gone in, started a bit of a fight, so now we're not really taking part in the fight. We spend a long time getting up here on the high ground, when we don't really benefit from doing so as Sombra, because we're actually a really close-range hero. Like, you can hit a tank pretty well from far away, but not really anybody else. So we're starting to run out of time right now. We found Mercy. Winston was on her. She didn't get any help apart from Genji, who what's he gonna do? So we actually ended up killing the Mercy anyway. And we really want that Genji. We got that Genji in the end. Tried to hack her. Didn't work. Hacked her there. Roadhog, not the end of the world. Running out of time, gotta go in. We emp everyone. I don't think we actually hit the Zenyatta, but his Transcendence is down right now anyway. And it's very scary to advance into that whole area over there. Oh, Jesus Christ, we gotta stay on the point, though, because we're in overtime right now. Nano-boosted Doomfist is really tragic. Please don't do that if you're playing Ana. And we actually managed to get control of this point anyway. I don't feel like we really deserved to, and I don't feel like we've really been doing very much for the team right now. Because if you think about the 5 things we're trying to do, we've been pretty bad at building our ult charge as quickly as possible. We haven't been repositioning at all, really. We've only really used the health kit on the left side. And we've done almost no distracting or fighting. We've just sort of been around, but we haven't really actively contributed that much to this game. So we have control of the payload. We've gotten the control point, so now we're on the payload phase. So this is, of course, the easiest part of Numbani, because it's not a very good place for the defending team to be, and they have a really long spawn. So you don't really need to use your invisibility right here, because there's nothing you're likely to encounter in this alleyway. You can actually get, like, over there, and then use it, and then you can actually use your invisibility to get somewhere more helpful, and then we actually cancel it early anyway. Well, tried to hack Tracer, but she just recalled. We translocate back out. So we still have like a lot of options for where to come from, because we got like over there, and then back there, as well as like further back behind. We can go also up to there, because there's the health kit up there as well. We do always want to be working from a health kit, but we want to be frequently changing what health kit we're using, because then we are more unpredictable. So here's Genji. We've hacked Genji. Genji's sad. Genji doesn't get to use his ultimate now, or any of his abilities, which means he's a very sad boy indeed. Ana, taking on this Roadhog. Ana's dead now. Hacked Reinhardt. He's not a hero anymore. Oh god, we are right in front of him, though. Mercy only res the Roadhog, which is not what I would consider to be a great use of company resources. Reinhardt not a hero again. Very sad about that. There are some heroes that are just absolutely tragic to get hacked. Those include Tracer, D.Va, Genji, Reinhardt. Look at this Tracer, she's so sad. So, you know, that's great and all. I'm all for the BM, but, like, we got more pressing matters right now, because, I mean, we're not really winning this game very decisively so far. Genji's upset now because he's been hacked, so he's not a hero. Very brave maneuver, seeing as the enemy team will be recollecting soon. D.Va comes forward, touches the point. Point's already gone, so now she's just going to get hacked and also be sad because she's no longer a hero anymore. So we have our Emp built up, which is fantastic news, and we're up here on the high ground. If you can get into a position where you're in the high ground, it's usually better to leave your translocator behind, because if you can engage from the high ground, that's basically as good as translocating him. Like, we can jump off the balcony right behind us into them, and that's basically the same as if we had thrown our translocator into the center of them. So instead we can put the translocator up somewhere like here, and then jump off the balcony, engage, and then back out as soon as we need to. We don't decide to do that, though, because instead we're going to come down this way. And this is a harder way to get in. Like, if we came out the balcony over here, we could just jump into these people and emp if we felt like we had to, or just get, like, more involved in the fight quickly. Because instead we end up, like, kind of in, like, an awkward location, and, like, the fight's already basically happened by the time we even arrive, so, again, I guess it doesn't really matter that much. So we've got some health. This is where it's going to get harder to play Sombra, because now we have slightly less locations to work from, but we still have options, because we got the health kit we used over there. This is very important to think about where your health kits are, because you want to, like, roughly think of what you're going to do. So we got the one over there. We've started using that one already. We got the one over there, and then we've got the one over near the edge. So we have less options now, but we still have options, and we want to be switching between all of these places as frequently as possible, so that the enemy team doesn't know what we're about. So we're actually coming over here first. And we found Baby D.Va. Baby D.Va, very small hitbox. Just, like, press up on the Baby D.Va. Or, like, anybody you're fighting, if they aren't a tank, just, like, press up on them so that you actually do damage to them. Because Sombra does do quite a lot of damage if you're, like, touching the person. Or they have a big model. Like a tank, she can hit from, like, really far away. But a smaller person, you have to kind of get up on. So, we haven't got our translocator down anywhere right now, even though we've had ample time to put it somewhere. We didn't put it anywhere, so then as soon as Genji's on us with the Dragon Blade, there's nothing we can do, because we're dead before we can even throw the translocator. Not that it matters, because we end up getting the point anyway. As soon as they lost the first point, it kind of all fell apart, and they never really managed to regain their momentum. So now we're defending. And our I've gone way too fucking far. Holy shit, you see that right there? So now we're defending. And our objective has not really changed any, but now we can add contesting to it if they start doing something like that. This is a very scary place to stand when you don't have a translocator anywhere, because sometimes they just come around the street. So we still want to be behind the enemy team as much as possible, distracting them so that they are wasting time paying attention to us when they'd rather be spending time going into, you know, the objective. We're really low HP right now, and we have not been trying very hard to get back any HP, but we did manage to kill Genji, so that's cool. So, fight's not exactly going well, but it's not exactly going terrible either. We've hacked D.Va, and now she's not a hero in the game anymore, and she's pretty upset about it. However, quite a few members of our team are dead right now. Didn't really need to throw the translocator right there, but we did, like, get away from the D.Va that ran up behind us, so, I mean, I guess. So, miracle, some kind of word that basically means it's incredible. We've managed to hold on to the point despite that fight going terribly right at the start. So we're after this Genji, because he's coming up over here, and he's getting collapsed on pretty hard. This Genji is, like, not really going to do anything regardless. Like, we kill him here, and that's great and all, but he wasn't going to do anything, so we could have been spending our time instead repositioning to get behind them and ready to start distracting them as soon as they start trying to push in. So this time, we basically only work from inside the lobby area. And we just put our translocator down in there every time and then go back over here. We also throw it behind the counter every time, so we have to keep jumping back over the counter, which is just an extra inconvenience. Had to reload. We didn't reload during, or did we reload reflexively? No, we didn't reload during our downtime, so we've ended up having to reload mid-fight with Tracer, and it didn't exactly go very well. Because McCree is up there. McCree is very scary, of course, because he has hard CC. And that's gonna kill you before you can translocate, so we have to be very careful of McCree. But at the same time, we aren't terribly afraid of McCree, as long as we are, like, paying attention and, like, spacing and all that. So, whole team dead. Oh no. Tragic. We're gonna lose this point. We, don't use your EMP like that, because that's just an absolutely tragic use of your EMP. Thankfully, they killed you before you could actually use your EMP. That would be oh so very, very tragic. So, what we do instead right here, we got time. We can, like, get some extra time out of this. Just like a couple of seconds, but we can get some more time out of this if we just wait around the corner for the stealth to actually come up, because instead we just walk around the corner in full view, try to stealth in front of them. Doesn't work. Then we, like, panic EMP, but fortunately they kill us before we use the EMP, because God, would that have been a sad use of the EMP. So now they have the payload, and as we established earlier, we can get quite a lot of extra time for our team by just contesting the payload as frequently as possible with our translocator and our stealth. And then we still want to be doing the same thing, where we have our ult right now, so we're looking for an opportunity to use it, but our team isn't ready to fight right now, so we're not ready to fight, so that means we're just gonna fall back on distracting and contesting. Instead, we come up over here, we emp the entire enemy team, and then immediately leave the fight again. This is not good, because 2 of our team were still dead at the time, and we want our whole team there, so that we can actually take advantage of the emp. And then as soon as we emp, we just translocate away. We want to actually take part in the fight so that we can benefit from the fact we just emped the entire team, but so far, when we emp them, we just immediately translocate out, which is kind of defeating the point of using the emp at all if we're not gonna actually fight at all. And our team was not there. So, it's just bad for a few reasons. So, they've gotten through the street. That's very sad, of course. We still want to be doing all the same things we talked about. Distracting, contesting, and all that. So now we're behind them, coming in this way. We've got Mercy all the way back here by herself, so we hack her, and got her. Sick. Awesome. Don't waste time doing that. Like, we're not winning the game. We don't have time to sit around teabagging people. So we take a while to pick up that health kit for some reason. We're halfway towards our EMP again, and we're like running after this Winston, because he's low HP and all that, and that's great. However, our number 1 priority right now should be contesting the point, because we're gonna lose. We're running after the Winston, when, like, yeah, okay, we want to kill Winston because he's low HP, but killing Winston is less important than making sure we don't lose the round. So, that's not a good, prioritization of our objectives right there. So now we have to attack again, and we don't have too terribly much time. Again, I don't feel like we really did anything during that entire round, because, you know, there's things we want to be doing, but we're just kinda like, ambling around. Doesn't really seem like we're super sure of what our objective is, so we're just kinda like, bumming around doing whatever we think of at the time, really. So it gets truly sad now because we lose this guy and he doesn't come back. So, it's not exactly hopeful. So there's a Tracer behind us right now. We've hacked the Tracer. Boy, is she sad. We don't have time. I know, it's fun and all, but we don't have time to be teabagging someone. So we're like just running straight at them right now. We've done no preparation yet, so that's very scary. Oh god, here's Winston. And we use our stealth right as Winston lands in front of us. We've got effectively infinite HP right now, so that's fine. As we can see, we have built up most of an EMP already because it charges super fast. Because, I mean, we can do that, and that's just 10% of our charge right there, plus damage we do. However, we are, of course, going to be really sad because we're still down to do. Just, like, walk on the health kit, dog. Don't need to be too scared of it. So we've managed to build up our EMP. Didn't get there in time. So even though we built up our EMP, and most of them were, in fact, dead, we didn't get here in time, so we end up losing the round. And it'll come as no great surprise to you, but this round doesn't exactly go fantastically. It goes better than expected, but that's not exactly saying very much. So, we have also got time to just, like, get behind them right at the start, but we, of course, want to hack these health kits as well so that we can fuck with them. We now are right behind them. We've seen Boostio coming through here. Boostio is really hard to kill because he's a very squirrely hero. So I would not go for him because Boostio is hard to kill. We can find a better target than a Lucio, like that Mercy that's actually trailing pretty far behind her team. Instead we go for the Lucio and he's much harder to kill. And he also, like, even if we hack him, it's like, whatever, you know, he's gonna be fine with it. And we throw our translocator behind the desk, so it gets a little scary right there when we end up fighting in the room where they're still in. So, they just jumped directly onto our Bastion and got killed, so that's great for us. Winston's now dead. We just shoot it, just shoot at her. Like, you don't need a hacker if you can just kill her, because death is the strongest CC in the game, actually. So we don't have our translocator right now to quickly get up to this Genji. So hacking him doesn't really do anything, because he was never gonna have to use his abilities up there. We could instead just spend this time, like, going and getting ready to go and fuck with their team instead. Now we've got our translocator to get up here, but Genji's already gone, so there was no reason to come up here anymore. If we had our translocator while Genji was up here, yeah, we can hack the Genji, then come up here and fight the Genji. Genji's gone now, so we should have instead been defaulting to our other thing, reposition, distract, and build ult. We're pretty fucked, though, as you can no doubt see. We are not ready in any way to do any of this fighting, and then we end up leaving the point, and we just end up losing the round, and it's very sad. Who got the play of the game? Oh, no, just kidding. I remember it like it was yesterday. It's very surprising that got the play of the game, honestly, but whatever. So, enemy's hack was really high, actually, but, things that stand out the most, we're just not really doing anything, like, the entire game. Also, it looks like we were on console this entire time, and I completely forgot to say anything about it, so my bad, if that matters to you. So, we just didn't really feel like we were doing anything the whole time, where it just felt like we weren't clear on what we were trying to accomplish, so we just kind of, like, ambled around, not really doing very much of anything. So, like, there's, like, the flow chart that I gave earlier, like, just go default to that, you know, all the things we've been talking about. The other thing is when you have your EMP, because this is very important, right? Like, Sombra's fine and all, but the strongest part of Sombra is easily her EMP because it's one of the strongest ultimates in the entire game. It's fucking terrible. Like, what do you, like, the enemy Sombra's got their ultimate. What do? Be sad about having gotten EMP'd, basically. That's what you do. So, when you gotta wait, make sure your team is actually there and ready to fight. Doesn't matter if you're ready to fight, because if you've got your ult and you've got, like, your cooldowns and stuff, you're ready to fight. Doesn't matter if you're ready to fight, because if your team's not ready to fight, you're not actually ready to fight. You've gotta wait for your team to actually be there, and then you've gotta wait for an opportunity to actually EMP, like throw your translocator into the people, try and jump off high ground if at all possible. Like, third point on King's Row. You know, you can wait on, like, the roof near the bend, and just, like, put your translocator up there, then jump down on them. EMP, translocate back up if you need to. Otherwise, like, throw it into them, get in there, and EMP those fools. And then, maybe you'll die, because you've just thrown yourself into 6 people and EMP'd them. But they can't use any of their abilities, so it's not exactly a guarantee that they're gonna kill you. And then, like, it doesn't matter if you die, though, because if you hack 6 people, and the 5 of your teammates are actually in a position to capitalize on your EMP, they'll win the fight anyway, because you've completely crippled their team. They can't do anything. And, like, yeah, you don't want to die. Obviously, the goal is to survive after using it, but if you EMP'd correctly, it doesn't even matter if you do die, because your team will win the fight. So, try and be more actively taking part in the game, and make alt execution are the biggest things. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer, and I hope you found the video helpful.